Hello, and welcome to the long delayed guided lesson two in the series Becoming Your Senses from Practically Mindful. This is called Chasing Your Periphery, and we'll get into more about what that means in a moment. If you're new to this channel, welcome. We use a slightly different language from traditional mindfulness practice, steering away from spiritual and metaphorical and focusing instead on a very concrete and physically oriented practice. Everything stated here is meant as literally as you are able to interpret it. And so the goal of this form of practice, and we do have a goal, is to witness firsthand how our minds trick us into retaining a faulty perception of reality and to learn how to break this illusion, to engage in a far more pleasurable conscious experience. In this particular lesson, we'll begin by setting a baseline understanding about this type of practice, what makes it unique, which I do consider to be important for success in the guided meditation. From there, we'll prep our minds and space for the practice and end with a very brief but potentially powerful guided session using a meditative tool that you'll be able to apply at any time in your future practice. This will be an eyes open practice and meditation, which may be a new experience for you, but I do hope you give it a chance. As the title asserts, we will attempt to actually physically chase our visual periphery field, our periphery, with our gaze. So you've seen things out of the corner of your eye and out of your periphery. What we're trying to do here is observe the entirety of the halo, the outside ring of your peripheral field all at once, without really paying attention to anything in the middle. Secondly, we will then look to shorten your focal distance um, and draw your eyes and your attention, your awareness inward rather than outward, looking out into the world. And we'll use the breath as a sort of metronome to rotate back and forth between these two practices. And the two of them together will really help you to reset your mind and your visual field into a new way of seeing what you are seeing in front of you right now in a very unique and enjoyable way. And so with that, let's get started. So again, we're going to start with a very quick understanding or baseline. And we'll start with this concept that you, as you know you to be, is not this body out in the world, but rather a collection of neurons reflecting and analyzing the sensory inputs of your body, right? So you are actually just this cloud of neural activity. You're not your body out in the world. And we intuitively know this to be true, right? If somebody passes, we don't see the body and say, look, they're right there. We say they are gone, but their body is still there, right? But in our day-to-day lives, we still go around with this all-encompassing sensation that we are still this body out in the world. And to get to this sensation, our minds must actually recreate the outside world and then recreate us within it. So if this is the true objective outside world and this is your body, right? There is an objective reality where this all exists. We share a common space. But point being, from your subjective perspective, which exists only in here, the mind actually has to recreate the outside world using sensory inputs and then organize and disseminate all that information and then create you as well and separate those two things, the subject, i.e., you, and the object, i.e., everything else that exists out in the world. And this really is, in a nutshell, the concept of dualism. And the illusion that that our brains are creating for us in every moment of every day, this intuitive illusion, really requires an enormous amount of brain power for us to retain. And furthermore, if we can slow the brain's compulsion to do this, to organize and analyze our senses in this way and separate the subject object existence, we end up freeing up far more mental bandwidth to simply experience, or I would say bask in, the sensory inputs rather than actually trying to spend time analyzing them. Right? It's like as if think of a computer trying to run multiple programs at once while you're running a video. The video is going to lag, and your experience of it is going to suffer until you shut down those other programs and simply receive the visual information instead. That's essentially what we're attempting to accomplish here. And so if you're still uncertain about that, I'd say go ahead and review some of the other videos as well. They may be helpful for sort of bridging the gap that you may still have in your mind. But here, let's go ahead and stage your body and space for the practice. First, we'll start with your environment. And since your eyes will be partially open, we want to rid your view of any major identifiable objects. Turn down the lights, remove any visual distractions. Lying in bed at night with the lights off in a nearly pitch black room is a really potent time to attempt this practice. I really enjoy doing brief meditation at that moment right before sleep. And in that moment, you can actually leave your eyes open because the room is dark and there's nothing that's going to distract you visually. Again, eyes barely open, especially if you're in a well-lit room, just enough to see your eyelashes and lower eyelids and sort of the wash of color that exists behind them. You should be reclined and you should be breathing slowly. Go ahead and start slowing your breath. We'll begin now starting that practice actually. Okay, so with that, I'm setting up a metronome over here so I can keep a consistent timing for breath work. So we'll start just by getting into the rhythm of the breath. Okay? So first, start by turning away from your screen and facing a direction that's least distracting to you. A blank wall, possibly. Again, ideally in a dark room. You won't need to look at your computer for the rest of this video, so do not worry about that. And if you wear glasses, just go ahead and remove those right now. So let's get in the practice of the appropriate rhythm. So I'm going to give you an inhale, 2, 3, 4, and an exhale, 2, 3, 4, but much more slowly. Okay? Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3. Great. Okay. So you got that down. Now let's go about the practice, and that's the rhythm we'll use the entire time. Let's go about the practice of actually learning how to chase your periphery. So what I want you to do first is let your eyes fall and your gaze shorten. So what I mean is imagine you were looking at something that's resting on the tip of your nose. Um, you want your eyes to kind of fall down there until you can kind of see your lower eyelids in front of you and really let your gaze go slack. Again, if you're in a well-lit room, let your eyes really come close to closing. And ready, set, go, with your eyes focused where they are, I want you to slowly inhale and put all of your effort into viewing your entire periphery, that halo of your peripheral view all at once. So I'll say base, 2, 3, 4, and at that point I want you to inhale and chase your peripheral. Ready, set, chase. 2, 3, 4, and relax. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that again. Reset your eyes so that they drop down to your focal depth is pointed towards your lower eyelids, and they are sort of dark semicircles in your lower visual field. Then at case, I want you to inhale and observe even beyond the outer limits of your periphery. Ready, set, chase. 2, 3, 4. And yeah, you can exhale. Great. Now let's practice the second portion, shortening your focal distance. So it's very similar to the first. Reset your eyes to the lower lids and at push, without changing anything else, just try to mentally push back from your eyelids as you inhale. Push your eyelids away from you. Ready, set, push. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Again, and this time, really use the inhale to drive your eyelids away from you. Okay. Ready, set, push. 2, 3, 4. Relax. 2. Okay, now if that still feels strange or somehow not quite right, feel free to back up and go again. You may experience some light strain or fogginess of vision. That's totally to be expected and a sign that you're on the right track. Couple quick notes. However much attention you're giving this practice, give it more. If your hair is on fire, you shouldn't be aware of it, right? Because you're so completely focused on chasing your periphery and looking prior to your eyelids, pushing your eyelids away from you. Okay? And really use the breath. The breath is a great tool to help you um, sort of supercharge these efforts and focus your attention momentarily while you need it to be done. Okay? All right. So let's get back into our rested position, eyes down. We're going to get started. Try to get back on pace with me. Ready? Inhale, two, three, four. Exhale. We're going to inhale again, two, three, four. Exhale. On the next, we're going to chase. Chase. Two, three, four. Exhale. Again. Chase. Two, four. Exhale. Two. On the next, we're going to push. Push. Two, three, four. Exhale. Two. Again. Push away. Two, three, four. And exhale. Now we're going to go back and forth. Chase. Two, three, four. Exhale. Two, three, four. Push. Two, three. Exhale. Chase. Exhale. Push. Exhale. Okay, pause there. Remember, when we uh, chase, we really want to expand the limits of your peripheral vision, right? That's what we're doing. We're trying to literally, with our visual field, chase the edge of our periphery. And if we think back to the fact that we are this collection of neurons, what does that mean about the outer limits of our visual field? It means there's no real scale to it whatsoever, and therefore it's open to manipulation. You can choose to have it as large or small as you want it to be, and you have that ability to affect it. Okay, all right, let's get back on track together. Ready? Inhale, two, three. Exhale. We're gonna chase and chase. Two. Exhale. We're gonna push. Push. Exhale. Chase. Exhale. Push. Exhale. Chase. Exhale. Push. Exhale. Chase. Exhale. Push. Exhale. Last round. Chase. Exhale. Push. Exhale. All right. We can rest. If you were watching the slideshow, we got a little off there, but no big deal. So, what did you experience in that? Did you see any changes to the scale of your visual field? Any floating objects? Any change in color tone or little floaties and static? Anything like that? If you did, you're likely on the right track. If you didn't, that's okay. This is a challenging task, and I may not have described it perfectly for you. But try it on your own too. If you understand the concepts that I just described, definitely keep trying to use them. Use them at least one or two more times and really sink yourself into the effort of allowing no distraction on those inhales. And you will start to slowly learn and see what this is. Um, with that, if you have feedback, thoughts, please provide them in comments below, whether that's good or bad or otherwise. If you have thoughts about how you'd love, what types of practice you'd like to see in the future, please let me know that too. Share, subscribe. This again is purely an effort on my end to better understand the wild experiences that I have uh, obtained or achieved in meditative practice. And so I'm here to try and better understand it and help others hopefully experience the same thing because it is such an incredibly potent, powerful moment that I can gain basically at will at this point, and I want to share that capacity with others. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, and look forward more lessons to come in the future. Thank you.